Hey, welcome back to my homeschool channel. If you're new here, my name is Meg. I'm a second generation homeschool mom to 4 girls. My oldest is in 4th grade. My next one is in 1st grade. I have a toddler that I'm teaching letters to right now. And then I have a little 1-year-old that's just along for the ride. Today, I wanted to switch it up and do something a little different than my other videos and share some practical tips today. And one of the things I thought of was sharing some simple ways that I like to work on reading with my younger kids. I did a lot of these games at the beginning of this year with my 1st grader and last year when she was in kindergarten, and I'll be using them again this fall when my preschooler moves up into kindergarten. So I'm kind of reviewing and refreshing, and I thought it would be fun to share with you guys. Teaching my kids to read has been one of the most fun things that I've done as a homeschool mom. I love getting to be the first one that is there when it just finally clicks with them, that when they can finally put letter sounds together and make a word. I will just never get over that. I think that that is such a privilege and an honor to be able to be the one to teach them how to read and to have that first row seat to their learning experience when it comes to reading. When you teach your kids to read, you're obviously opening up the door to being able to learn anything that they could possibly ever want to learn. So I think that's why I love it so much. But sometimes our kids aren't always super excited to learn to read. My oldest appreciated fun hands-on learning just like any kid did, but she also had a great attention span as a young child and was really interested in letter sounds, and it clicked really easy for her. So we were able to jump into reading really early. But my next one is definitely more of a kinesthetic learner. She needs things to be hands-on. She needs lots of movement. She needs lots of breaks. And so sitting down to work through a reading book or a lesson book only lasted so long. We could only get a few minutes in before she was ready to move on to something else or before she was starting to get frustrated. So I started looking for ways that I could make our reading practice time more interactive. And these are the activities that I want to share with you today. They're super simple, probably using things that you already have around your home or that you could find something else to substitute the item with. So keep watching for some fun reading ideas.
The first activity I have for you is just super simple setup. All it requires is a whiteboard, a marker, and Play-Doh. And really all it requires is the Play-Doh. You could use anything to write your words or to form your words. So what I do is I take a clump of Play-Doh and separate it into 3 pieces and then roll them into balls. And each of these balls is going to represent a sound that is in your word. So you could potentially use as many balls as there are sounds in your word. And then I'm just going to write a simple CVC word on the board. This was one of my daughter's favorite activities because she was able to sit at the table and focus on blending some sounds together while also keeping her hands busy. So once you write the word, you place the Play-Doh for each sound, and then you're just going to sound out each letter of the word. And as you do that, you press down on the Play-Doh balls, and that way you're getting your hands-on learning, you're keeping your kids' hands busy. It really keeps them focused on the work that's in front of them, which makes it a great reading activity for our kinesthetic learners. I always like to have my kids roll their balls back up while I get ready for the next word, and that also helps to keep their hands busy and keeps their interest because they love to play with Play-Doh. This is a great activity for your kindergartners or your very early learners, but it's also a good activity for your 1st graders if you're still working on special sounds or digraphs. So you can even change the word to something like path, where you have 2 sounds in the beginning, the p and the a, and then the end is the th digraph, which just makes the one th sound. So you can also have them work on a little bit more challenging words and still use this fun activity. This next activity is a great one because it gets your kids up out of their seats and working on blending some simple words and working on letter sounds while they are moving around, which is another good one for kids who learn better when they are able to move around and be active. So what you're going to need for this activity is just a roll of painter's tape and a marker. You're going to write the letters to your word in separate spaces on the tape because you're going to tear them into pieces. So I'm just going to start with the easy word cat. I'm writing each letter separately, and then I'm going to turn the tape and write the full letter together. When I'm done writing, I'm going to tear each letter into their own piece of tape. So the C, the A, and the T will all be separate pieces of tape, and then the word cat will be its own separate piece of tape. Once I've torn them up, I'm going to place them on the floor in order. So I'm going to place the C down, then the A down, and then the T down. And then I'm going to put the full word at the end of those 3 letters. And I'm going to have my child start at C and sound out each letter as she hops next to the letters. So she's going to say k, a, And then when she gets to the end, she's going to hop to the full word, which is cat. I think this activity is really fun because they get to get up off the table, they get to move, and it really helps them to break down each letter sound and then put them all together when they get to that final word. Okay, activity number 3 is back at the table, and what you need for this activity is a piece of paper, some dice, and a marker, and maybe one of these paper protector dry erase packets if you want to be able to do this activity over and over again. So what I'm going to do is take the marker and I'm going to write 3 lines at the top of the page to represent our CVC word, and then I'm going to choose a vowel to go into the middle of the word. So I'm just going to choose A, and then after that I'm going to number my page 1 through 6 because those are the numbers that we have on this dice. And once I have those numbered, I'm going to assign a consonant to each number. Once that's done, I'm going to slip the page back into the dry erase packet, and I'm going to hand that and the dice to my kids. And I'm going to give them the instructions to roll the dice, and whatever number dice they roll, that's the corresponding letter that they are going to choose to build the word at the top of the page. So I'll hand them a dry erase marker and then off they go. So to see this in action, they roll the dice, and here I've rolled a 3 and a 6. So my 3 is going to go with the letter M, my 6 is going to go with the letter H. Then I'm going to have them build the word, put the M at the top and the H at the top. They can do this in whatever order they want because the next step to this game is to then sound out the word and tell me if it's a fake word or if it's a real word. Then they'll erase and they will roll the dice and try again. So for example, this is a 4 and a 3. The 4 goes with the T and the 3 goes with the M. They can assign it a place at the top of the page and they can tell me if it's a nonsense or a real word. You could also totally turn this into a game either between 2 of your kids or between you and your child. You could set a number of rounds, say you're going to play it 20 times. You each get 10 turns, and whoever ends up with the most real words by the end of the game is the winner. My kids always love it when I turn something into a game. They're competitive, they love to win, and it just adds that extra level of interaction and motivation to really work on their schoolwork in front of them. Activity number 4 is another super easy one that uses things that you probably already have on hand. All you need is some index cards or post-it notes and a piece of paper to write a list. So the first thing you're going to do is come up with a list of words. They can be simple CVC words like what I'm showing here, or they can be sight words if your child is working on sight words. It could even be their spelling words if they're learning to spell these words along with read them. So you can adjust this to be whatever you want. But for today, we're just doing the CVC words. So I make a list, and then after I make the list of words, I'm going to write each individual word on the index card or the post-it note. I'm sure you've seen this one before. It's called the word scavenger hunt. It's another one that gets our kids up, away from the table, out of their chairs, moving and running around while still getting to practice the reading. So if you're using post-it notes, you probably don't need the extra supply of tape, but I'm going to use some washi tape to just attach to the top of my index card, and then I'm going to go and hide these cards all around the house. I'm going to give my child the list of words that I have for her, and she is going to set off on the scavenger hunt to find the words, and once she finds them, she brings the card back to me, she reads it to me, and once she's read it correctly, she can cross it off her list. You can also just hide these in random areas around your house. Sometimes my kids like a little bit of extra challenge, so when we play scavenger hunt type games like this for any of our school subjects that we like to do, I will just hide them around our living room behind pillows or in chair cushions, and my girls absolutely love it. Anytime I introduce a scavenger hunt type game for them, they are thrilled. So this is another one that's just super fun because they get to run around and still get their work done. My 5th and final game has to do with magnetiles. So all you need is a dry erase marker and a few magnetiles and then an eraser so you can erase the letters. If you haven't heard that you can write on magnetiles, well, today is your lucky day because this is the most fun way to incorporate magnetiles into your school day. My kids love building with magnetiles and they think it's so cool to get to use them in school. We've used them for math before and we use them for reading or spelling. So for this activity, all you need to do is write some letters of the word you want your child to build onto the magnetile and then place the magnetiles in front of them and ask them to build the word. So you can start really simple and you can just ask them to find the sound. So if you wanted them to spell the word log, you could ask them to find the letter that makes the ul sound and then the ah sound, and then put those together. And then of course you can find the ending sound, the g g, and then you have them put them together and then say each sound as they touch it. One other thing that I really like using Magnetiles for when we're building words is working on blending the sounds. So if your child's having a hard time blending 3 letters together to make a full word, this is a great one because you can just have them blend the first 2 letters. So you can have them blend the L and the O, the ul and the ah, ul, ah, la. And then once they have the la, then you can add in that final letter, log, log, and then have them push it together as they're blending it to demonstrate that the letter sounds are coming together and they're forming into one continuous sound, log, to make a word. And these are so great because once you've worked on one word, you can quickly erase and you can just add in some new letters. Another one that this is really good for is working on that silent E sound and showing them how the silent E at the end of the word changes that vowel sound from a short vowel to a long vowel sound. So this is one that I did more with my first grader at the beginning of the year when she was still working on that reading rule. So for example, I wrote the words M-A-D-E on 4 Magnetiles and I set the E off to the side. And first we worked on just building the word mad, M-A-D, mad, and putting that word together. And we talked about how that A is the short vowel sound of a. And then we brought in the E at the end of the word. And we talked about how adding that E at the end of the word changes the vowel to a long vowel sound and makes it a completely different word, which is made. And then we just erased and we practiced with a few more words. Magnetiles have endless possibilities. And another really fun thing about adding Magnetiles into your schoolwork is that you can use them on your refrigerator. So you can write the letters down and you can have your child practice spelling their words or reading their words on your fridge while you're cooking lunch or dinner. You can have them do that alongside of you. And also, you can take these outside and put them on your garage. So bring your basket of Magnetiles outside with you on a sunny day when you want to do some outside learning and have your child build some words on your garage door while you get to sit in the sunshine and get some fresh air.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love it if you would like this video and then subscribe to my channel for more homeschool content. I think it would be fun to do more videos like this, sharing some practical teaching tips, whether it's how to teach a math concept or more reading concepts, maybe some writing concepts. Please leave me some suggestions in the comments below because I would love to hear from you. And I'd also love to know if there are any fun reading games that you guys like to do with your kids that I can add to my toolbox for my rising kindergartner for next year. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy homeschooling.